Today's video, we're going to break down Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Detroit Lions. A number of you have reached out in the last few days, asked me if I could start analyzing players and coaches, their personalities, their athletic traits, whatever it may be that they bring to the table. And most of you guys, I think, know after coaching for 30 plus years, being a scout, somebody who's done it at the collegiate, professional, high school level in our country and other countries, try to do a deep dive into individuals versus just kind of broader spectrums. So that's what today's Lions Talk Live is going to be about. We're going to dive into Dan Campbell, what are his strengths, his weaknesses, and what is the team going to have to do with him to get him to his maximum potential going forward. So let's get into that, and maybe just a little bit more, in Tuesday's version of Lions Talk Live. Well, greetings and salutations, everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host, once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy days and schedules to tune into Lions Talk Live. I'm going to give you the speech. If you've got 2 seconds, please consider subscribing. If you haven't done so, hit that thumbs up button and leave some interactive comments in the section below. Today's video was a request by a few different people. I had to decide which one to go with, but we're going to do an analyzation of Dan Campbell. What type of personality traits does he have? What does he show as far as a game manager, which a head coach really is, somebody who's in charge of managing all the different personalities and subordinate staffs on them. So with that, let's get diving in to Dan Campbell, his pluses, his minuses, and what he needs to do to improve. So years and years and years ago, when I got my first college coaching job, one of the things that I was encouraged to do was start understanding not only do you have to evaluate when recruiting players, their athletic abilities, their strengths, their skill sets, etc., but if you want to become a great recruiter, you need to take the time to understand people's personality traits. So let's start with that with Dan Campbell. It would be my opinion, somebody who's gone to school, got a PhD and all that stuff in kinesiology, the study of body language. Here is who Campbell is internally. He is an amicable personality who has some expressive personality traits. What does this mean? Campbell enjoys everybody being happy, everybody, being on the same page, kumbayaing. That's who he is internally. Expressive personality traits means he's somebody that he's great at public speeches. He's great at, picking people up. He knows internally, without even thinking about it, how to do the rah-rah stuff that, the life of the party type stuff. I have no doubt when Campbell was in college, everybody enjoyed him coming to the party. So now that we've identified the 2 main personality traits of Dan Campbell, how does this impact somebody as a coach? Not worried about a player, but as a coach, a leader. It's my opinion, as an expressive personality, it's actually a negative that he's that. While it's great to get players motivated and such, what does Campbell struggle with? Making split-second decisions in duress that he knows are going to affect people being his players. He's going to struggle making that fast decision, cutthroat decision. Hey, we're going with this here and now. Think about the Minnesota game. Think about the Seattle game. Think about last week's game, the Thanksgiving Day game. Right before the half in Thanksgiving, he has to know coming out of that injury timeout, the clock's going to run. I have no doubt somebody on the staff probably pointed out to him, but because he doesn't want to lose face in that he didn't know that, and his personality type, he let the clock, they hiked the ball before letting the clock come down to the 2-minute warning. I want you to now think back to the Minnesota game. About midway through the 4th quarter, do you see this trait appear again? Where we're hiking the ball, trying to protect the lead with, we're hiking it with sometimes 14 or 15 seconds left. A couple times we got it down to 10 or 11. Campbell's story is that, he wanted to stay aggressive and assertive. But if you watch him when he's giving his public address announcement or the press conference the next day, if you pay attention to his body type, what he's saying, how his body mechanics are working, you can see he's struggling internally with that. And I get it. Any coach, no matter who you are, is going to struggle with that. It's my opinion based upon all the years that I've coached in different places I've coached. Usually you want a driver personality to be handling as a head coach. This is somebody that doesn't give two you-know-whats. They're going to make a choice, and they're going with it right then and there. Right or wrong, they don't suffer any kind of emotional duress or stress because of whatever selection they make. If they win with that decision, great. I knew it. See, believe in me. If they didn't, you know what? We're on to the next play. That's also, if you're looking for a quarterback, that's who you want under center. Somebody who doesn't give two rips if that pass is a touchdown or pick. They can emotionally move on to the next play. And a coach, if you can't do that, that's a problem. So does this mean all doom and gloom for Dan Campbell? Absolutely not. Here's what we can probably all, whether you're watching Lions Talk Live for the first time or not, we can all agree Dan Campbell is a motivator. I mean, if he gives up coaching, he could make a lot of money just going around the world being a motivational speaker. Because of his two personality traits, he's going to be somebody that can really just sell people on anything. He would make a great salesperson with that in mind because people are going to believe in him. And the most important part, when he's presenting himself, talking about whatever topic, he's coming from the heart. You and I and anybody who sees that gets that right away. This is somebody who believes in what they say, is genuine without a fault, and isn't trying to BS anybody. They are simply looking out for what's best for me because that's who he is internally. He needs everybody to think highly of him, think that we're all on the same page, holding hands and going forward in a singular direction. He's a great leader of people in that regard. But where does Campbell struggle again? Struggles making last-second, making rash, quick decisions where, hey, if I don't get this right, it could affect people. So that's going to cause him stress inside. This is why, in my opinion, an amicable personality is not a good leader for a head coach. So now that we've identified strengths and minuses with Campbell, what does this mean going forward? If I'm Brad Holmes, after the season, I think to help Campbell and the team out, I've identified Campbell has strengths and things I can't teach. I can't get another coach and send him out to classes and have him do that. It's just something that's going to be difficult for most people to learn to do what Campbell does do well. But can I help hide or augment some of his weaknesses? The first thing I would say is Campbell's got to spend some time with people that have been coaching for a while, and he needs to become more familiar with in-game management, understanding the nuances of the rules. You know, think about Jim Schwartz. He didn't know he could throw a challenge flag on a scoring play. You know, the fact that Schwartz didn't know that was used against him and cost the Lions a play. Campbell is similar in the fact that he doesn't know all the nuances of some of the rules. And think about this. If he did know that rule, the Lions take the Buffalo game down to the 2-minute warning, run a few plays, probably still score, but they would have relieved Buffalo of 1, maybe 2 timeouts, which puts the Buffalo Bills in a much more difficult scoring opportunity before the half is over. Now think about other games where these same mechanics and rules apply. The Lions, like most of the NFL, games are decided by 1 score or less. And it's my opinion, because of Campbell's learning on the job, and he's not the only one. You've heard me talk before about Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn learning on the job. But at the end of the day, we're only talking about Campbell here. His lack of understanding of some of the just small details in the rules, how many times this season have cost the Lions in a field goal game? In my opinion, there are 3 moments or 3 games that probably would have had their results reversed, meaning Detroit was really that close to being 7-4 versus 4-7. So Holmes is going to have to probably hire Campbell, an in-game management person, somebody that's in the headset with them, that in situations like last Thursday or against Seattle or Minnesota can step in, talk to Campbell, and help him quickly understand the more probable answer versus what he's selecting. These little mechanics, if done right, would greatly change a fair amount of our losses and turn them into wins. So at the end of the day, I'm going to say this. I'll wrap up this video with this take. If you're going to ride with Campbell, you have to understand who he is, and you're going to have to build around that. You can't change him, but you can help improve him. It's not the person I would have selected to be a head coach, but here's what I can say. The team loves him, players love him, and if they continue over these last 6 games to have good amount of success, you're going to see free agents want to come to play for him. That's the strength of Dan Campbell. We've already identified the weaknesses, so Brad Holmes, Campbell, and staff have to all come together this offseason and say, what can we do to remove some of these issues from being issues in 2023? If they can do that, I think the Lions are going to live up to my prediction of next year making the playoffs and winning a playoff game. And then 2024, they're making the Super Bowl. I've got no doubt about that if these things come to fruition. So anyways, hope you all have a great day. And again, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Smash that thumbs up because you know it helps us out a ton. And leave some thoughts in the comment section below what you think of these videos where we analyze things. Also, if you have some ideas of other players or coaches you want me to break down, I'd be more than willing to do so. Take care, enjoy your day, and I'll see you tomorrow on Lions Talk Live.